So here's a team that's looking to bounce back from the worst game week that I think I've ever had from game week 4. So game week 5, starting in goal, it's Martinez away to Leicester City. He's been in good form for Aston Villa so far this season. At the back, we're sticking with the Liverpool double up. Trent and Robbo away to Everton, and James is keeping his place in the side at home to Southampton. As we go to midfield, the two changes, Grealish and Son come in. Son against West Ham, Grealish against Leicester. Barnes at home to Villa. Kevin De Bruyne captain again at home to Arsenal. And up front, we're sticking with Chris Wood, who's away to West Brom. We've got in-form, hot streak man, the king himself, Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And unfortunately, we've still got Timo Werner. So where do we start, guys? Possibly the worst game week I have ever had. 22 points. I've got double Liverpool, triple City, and I've still got the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I've got 9.3 million forward. I don't know where it went wrong, if I'm perfectly honest. If we start at the back then, Martinez, 2 clean sheets and 3-pointer for this game week since we came in. I also want to point out, so I got 22 points for this game week. I got 23 points in my entire squad of 15 players. It absolutely blows my mind. Martinez, 3 points. He's still looking solid. I still think he's the best cheap goalkeeper option out there, unless you want to pay over 5 or 5.5 million. Then we go to the back. Reece James dropped, the most attacking player that the play goes through at Chelsea through Reece James. He gets benched against Crystal Palace. Of course, Chelsea still went on to win quite convincingly. Palace sort of reverting back to their older Project Restart kind of performance standard, but I'm so surprised that they dropped him, considering he's an attacking threat. They were at home against a very defensive team. It did pay off. People now questioning whether or not he's going to be dropped. I'm going to wait and see for that one. And then we move on to my Liverpool boys, the lads at the back. -1 for Trent, -1 for Robbo. So I went in to the Sunday fixtures. So we had Arsenal Sheffield, I didn't have any players. Wolves Fulham didn't have any players. United Spurs didn't have any players. So I thought, okay, I'm all right. I've still got double Liverpool. I'm on 24 points. And then my Liverpool players played. And I got fewer, or something around that. Well, anyway, minus points from the boys at the back. I'm still not too worried. For me, it's still long term for these guys. Liverpool are going to turn around, agile or not. I haven't checked what the bookmakers' odds were, not just for an Aston Villa win, but for them to win 7-2 is just proof that this season is absolutely insane. 7-2, just put that in perspective. Like, if you'd have said this like 6 months ago, Villa were going to smash Liverpool 7-2, you just wouldn't accept it. But this season now, that feels like the normal. So Taylor came in for 1 point, and he was like my only point on the bench as it is anyway. Reece James, 0. Harvey Barnes brought him into the side. Nothing in this game week, unfortunately. Leicester City getting smashed 3-0 at home by West Ham, who have something like the most goals and the fewest conceded. A really good goal difference, considering usually they have a pretty shocking defence. And they've gone to Leicester and absolutely annihilated them. Then we have my 3 City lads. I thought, here we go. You know, they usually get good revenge when they've lost a game. Captain Kevin De Bruyne as well. What a game, by the way. Leeds won, Man City won. But it did not equate to a lot of Fantasy Premier League points. And for me, it equated to no returns. I only had 1 return in my entire squad. But we'll get on to the King DCL in a minute. But Man City, they look so good in game week 1 against Wolves, and then they've kind of lost it a little bit. I don't really know what's going on at Man City at the moment, but maybe lack of squad depth up front. Maybe, you know, Mahrez actually dropped into the more central role and Sterling stayed out on the wing. But looking at this, not good. And I've had to act, guys. I'm 4.1 million overall ranked. I'm still not too bothered about that. I'm still looking for game week scores. I'm still catching up to the people who had Salah captain in game week 1 and Son or Kane or both in game week 2 when they smashed Southampton. So I'm not really at panic stations just yet, but I have taken a -4. As we go up to the front then, Timo Werner just... he doesn't even look close to scoring. This isn't like a Shea Adams situation of, oh, he's almost getting there, he's just unlucky, just a little bit too close to keep it, just hitting the post in the button. No, Timo Werner looks so unlikely to score right now, and it's not looking good. But they're against Southampton this game week. It could be if they can do something similar to what Spurs did, it could be good for him to be out on the wing in that game. Maybe as well Pulisic and Ziyech is back. People think that might improve Timo Werner's chances. I'm not too sure. I said at the start of the season, I said pre-season, maybe I shouldn't get Timo Werner. I should rely on proven players, like your Jamie Vardy, right? Why am I starting? Why am I getting pulled in by the exciting young talent that Chelsea signed, who's definitely going to be their striker? And he has been their striker. He has been playing. He's just nowhere near close to scoring. And Chris Wood, my punty punt up front, top of a lot of formulas and charts of expected returns, has so far done nothing except dropping value for me. So that's how it's looking for my team at the minute, guys. It is not looking particularly good. So like I said, I've taken a -8. Heung-min Son back in the side after I took him out on a wild card. I transferred him out because Jose Mourinho said, he's not looking good for the United game. He looks like he's going to be injured. Well, there you go. He banged, didn't he? So he's back. I don't think I can ignore Spurs at the minute. Harry Kane and Heung-min Son are looking so good. So Son's come straight back into the side. In for Riyad Mahrez. I think that could be a little bit risky. You can see 2 of my City boys have gone. Foden and Mahrez are out. They could have been long-term picks, but I just can't have players in my team that are not just rotation risk, but just are not performing when there are players out there at the minute that are looking really good. And as a pair, you can see Jack Grealish in for Foden, Son in for Mahrez. If I have a look at Son and Grealish, and I have a look at Mahrez and Foden, Son and Grealish just look so much better right now. And Villa are going to have a decent run of fixtures. I'm not too chuffed at the minute sort of having a punt on Villa, but they're looking really strong at the start of the season. Jack Grealish is, of course, an essential part of that Villa side. Hopefully he's going to be an essential part for my side. And 7 million. Around the area, I could have got the likes of Wilfried Zaha. I still don't really trust Crystal Palace, so I'm going to go back to Jack Grealish. He did get me a good haul last season, and Villa have had a very promising start to the season so far. As you can see from the rest of the team, I did mention it earlier, so Martinez, James, I'm sticking with him at the back. Trent and Robbo the same. I know a lot of people are thinking maybe drop one of them, or maybe even drop both of them until they find a little bit of form, but that was, I know they got minuses this week, but that was the first game week as well that both of them one of them hasn't given me some kind of return, so I still think they're good value. I still think they'll come good in the end. Harvey Barnes as well, so I knew it was a risk when I was thinking about getting him, but they're at home to Aston Villa, so could be back on the cards here. He's still up there in terms of attempts on goal and shots and chances and things like that, so I'm still going to stick with 7 million. I don't think that's too bad. Jack Grealish is playing against Leicester, who did concede 3 goals against West Ham, so anything's possible there. It's really difficult to predict at the minute because it doesn't matter if we're looking at stats and bringing in the right players. The fixtures are so crazy right now that it doesn't feel like you can have a good prediction. We can just look at the stats, look at the form, have the eye test, and just pick players who are doing well, and that's kind of what I'm trying to do now. Heung-min Son, mentioned it earlier, fantastic form right now. Kevin De Bruyne, the captain's armband's currently on him. It could go to Heung-min Son because he is yellow flagged. He did pull out the Belgian game, but apparently that's more for fatigue than for injury. I'm going to keep an eye on that, but he does tend to do well against Arsenal. Up front, of course, it's Calvert-Lewin. We've got Wood still in there. I should have put that 6.4 that he's worth now. And Timo Werner at 9.3 as well. So 2 price drops that I've had there. Timo Werner, I've got a plan for him. So I'll tell you now, I've got 1.1 million in the bank. I was going to take a -8, but I'm going to wait because Timo Werner is going to become Sergio Aguero. So I will still have 2 Man City attackers, and I think, if anything, this recent time for Man City has proven that, and hopefully proven to Pep Guardiola, that they still need Sergio Aguero. He is still a real key player for Manchester City, especially in terms of getting goals as well. So I kind of feel like, not disrespected, but it kind of feels like Aguero's easy to get hauled off or dropped by Pep. People cite his age, but at the end of the day, when he's not playing for that Man City side, they score fewer goals. They are not as good a team as they are with him in the side. So I think with him now training with the squad, there's pictures of him training with the first team again. That too early this week, I don't want to take a -8 on him and then him not play. But then I think from next game week, if he gets some minutes against Arsenal, he'll be in for Timo Werner. I'm only holding on to Timo Werner because I don't want to take a -8. And he's against Southampton, and that kind of wing play action, if Chelsea tried to do something similar to Spurs, what they did to Southampton, he could finally get his first goal. But, definition of madness is just doing the same thing over and over again. And I'm just looking at Timo Werner, I'm thinking, oh my God, I can't believe he's still in my team. But there you have it, guys. Let's have a look at the fixtures and have a look at some players and teams to target for Game Week 5. So looking at the fixtures, we kick off with an early kick-off against Everton and Liverpool. So first off, looking at Everton, of course, you've got the likes of Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who is in fine form right now. And a lot of people will be either holding or bringing in very popular player James Rodriguez. He's looked a fantastic signing for the Toffees. But something to note, guys, I know a lot of people are still looking to bring him in. He could miss the Liverpool match because even Ancelotti himself said that. So James Rodriguez is all the way in South America. He's in Chile, playing against Chile for Colombia, and he won't get back to Liverpool until something like Friday. And of course, they're playing Saturday early kickoff. That he even said that if he comes that late or he looks a little bit tired, he's dropped. So if you were thinking of bringing him in, you might have thought maybe I won't do it against Liverpool, despite a 7-2 thrashing by Villa. You might not fancy him against Liverpool, but also the fact that he looks like he could be benched in the Merseyside derby, so you might want to hold your horses on that one, but he's definitely someone that you want to bring into this side. In terms of Liverpool, I think these two teams are quite obvious. For Everton, you've got maybe Richarlison because he's very low owned. His price has just slightly dropped. Calvert-Lewin is the man on fire in that side, and James Rodriguez as well has been absolutely fantastic. Liverpool, I still think all their assets are valuable or viable options. Maybe if you want to send I wouldn't even suggest saving a little bit of money going for Mane over Salah. I think you've got to go Salah, and I still recommend Trent and Rob. I still think that they will become or will end up being right up there at the top of not just top defenders, but arguably in amongst the best FPL scorers of this season. As we go to Chelsea, it's so strange because it's a real mixed bag. I know they're coming off the back of a convincing, easy win against Crystal Palace, but people looking to bring in Ziyech, people looking to bring in especially Pulisic. Again, for me, it's just wait. We're not 100% sure what Lampard's tactics are going to be. We're not really certain about Timo Werner because he's not scoring any goals. But I kind of feel reluctant to bring in players despite the quality after such an injury layoff. Like, I myself have mentioned that I'm really looking to bring in Sergio Aguero, but I'm not going to do it until I've seen some minutes on the pitch. There's being early, but then there's being premature, right? So I would probably wait a bit on Chelsea. A lot of people bring in Chilwell. He has actually just pulled out of the England squad alongside Kieran Trippier. So that as well, a lot of transfers, like 500,000 transfers in for Ben Chilwell. Not surprising because he had such a dominant performance and a high score against Crystal Palace. But again, hold your horses on that, wait for the extent. And I did mention even way back when, one of my top tips, of course, is to always try and hold that transfer as long as possible. I went early, not just as a rage, but I just wanted to sort my team. I didn't want to sit on it. I didn't want to lose value for a couple of weeks. That's why I went for Son and Grealish straight away instead of Mahrez and Foden. But for Chelsea, it's a little bit of a mixed bag. Reece James, if he plays, I still think is a good option. Defensively, I wouldn't be trusting him too much. Midfield, bringing Jorginho as your fifth midfielder and play him every week because chances are he's going to get some more penalties. Southampton, you've still got the likes of McCarthy, Kyle Walker-Peters, maybe James Ward-Prowse, but he's not even on penalties, only free kicks. But Danny Ings is still the main beacon there. Could he get something against that Chelsea defence? Yeah, because Danny Ings can score against anyone. Man City against Arsenal. I actually said so before the Leeds game. I said, okay, Man City, when they get beat, especially against a team that they don't think that they feel they should get beaten by, they come out all guns blazing and they will punish the next team. That didn't happen. So are they saving up that anger and rage and they're going to explode on Arsenal? Or is it going to be another situation where it's going to be 1-1 basically? So for Man City, I'm not too sure. Kevin De Bruyne, yellow flagged. It's supposed to not really be an injury, but that's risky. Raheem Sterling, I still think is a fantastic option. Really low owned. Captaincy option isn't too easy this week. So, of course, you like some Mo Salah against a top of the table Everton side, and then you got Man City, you got Kevin De Bruyne against a pretty strong Arsenal team. So captaincy options are not too easy for this game week. But for me, if Kevin De Bruyne is fit, I'd captain him, especially because his history against Arsenal is a pretty strong history. But I still think Raheem Sterling is a good option there as well. In terms of Arsenal, again, not really for me. We all had our fun with Aubameyang for the first couple of weeks, but yeah, he's not looking particularly likely to score, and it kind of feels like their goals and assists are all over the place. Lacazette has actually been ticking along quite nicely, but he's in the price range where do you want Lacazette, who might get dropped for Nketiah sometimes, or do you just want Danny Ings and Raul Jimenez, who are basically the talisman of their teams? So no one really for Arsenal for me at the minute. Newcastle, Manchester United. Wilson, I know the lads on Who Got the Assist have been saying about talisman theory as well, and Wilson is a talisman for that. He's been involved in most of the goals that Newcastle have scored, and for his price, I think he's now just gone back up to 6.5. I think he's an option, and if I could re-wildcard, I would probably take out Wood, and I would probably put in Callum Wilson there for Newcastle. No other options there. Maybe someone like Jamal Lewis is your cheap 4.5 million defender, but not really screaming FPL quality players for me there. Manchester United, I think they're like 16th in the league, but Anthony Martial is suspended for the next few games. Kind of just all over the place at the moment, but I still think the likes of Rashford and especially Bruno Fernandes with those penalties are still great options, and United have got to turn it around at some point. Sheffield United and Fulham, this just screams 0-0 or 1-0 for me all over it, and my prediction of this week, guys, is that Bruce is going to score a goal, and there's going to be such an influx of transfers because it's going to be, oh my god, a 4.5 million striker, he's just played, he's just scored, and then people are not going to realise that it's against Fulham, and Sheffield United don't tend to score a lot of goals as it is. So that's my prediction of the week. Crystal Palace, Brighton. Brighton like to concede goals. Crystal Palace don't particularly like to score them. So this again feels like it could be like a 0-0, 1-0, 1-1 kind of game. But with the way that this Premier League season's going, it's probably going to be like a 5-5 thriller. Zaha gets 3, Maupay gets 3, and my rank just drops to 33 million, even though there's only about 7 million players. Anyway, Spurs, West Ham. If this was the end of last season, you'd have had Spurs down as an easy win. Even with the form that Spurs have started the season with, despite that blip against Newcastle. But West Ham have been genuinely pretty decent. A little bit more solid a lot more solid at the back, and actually scoring more goals up front. I still think, though, Spurs might have a little bit too much for West Ham. But the exciting thing here, we saw the clips. We must have all seen the clips of Gareth Bale training. The staff, the coaching staff at Spurs have been so amazed, shocked, surprised, excited by the drive and determination and ability of Gareth Bale. I'm not a Premier League. I'm a Premier League fan, but I'm not a fan of any of the clubs. I'm a Bolton Wanderers fan. So I love football. I love the Premier League. And for me, having a player of Gareth Bale's quality, if he can stay fit, is amazing. And at 9.5 million, if you can double up on like Son and Bale or Kane and Bale, that could be good value. If Gareth Bale can stay fit, he is an absolute class player. We all know he's a class player, so definitely keep your eyes on this space. I think Gareth Bale could get some minutes at the very least against West Ham this week. And we know Mourinho, he'll play players if they're fit. Even if they're not fit, he'll play them. So watch that space. I think Gareth Bale could be just phenomenal. Leicester City against Aston Villa. Leicester started okay this season. I mean, a wonderful away win against Manchester City, followed by a 3-0 home drubbing by West Ham. So again, toss the coins in the air, throw some dice, and maybe that'll give you a prediction for this result. But Aston Villa they've looked a lot more solid this season, more comfortable with the Premier League. Defence seems a little bit more solid. I think Ross Barkley is a fantastic signing for Aston Villa. I know a lot of people don't trust him because of his Chelsea days, but you can't go into every Premier League season this way, right? If people had the preconception or remembering how Zaha was for him last year, right? Oh, he let me down. But I've even said myself, at the pre-season, I said, okay, Son, a clean slate. I forgive you for my game week 38 blank. And then the last time I captained him was his -1 when he got sent off. I said, right, Son, we'll start again. I know I didn't start the season because I needed the money, so I went with Dele Alli. But I still had that mindset of Son, it's a clean slate. And if I'd have brought Son in, I'd have been sitting on a lot more points than I am right now. So not ignoring Ross Barkley just because of that, I think it's wrong. We have West Brom against Burnley. Again, I've said it a few times, but again, this should, on paper, not be a very high-scoring match, but you just don't know. But West Brom, definitely a team that I'm going to be targeting this year. West Brom and Fulham feel like the teams to target. But Burnley, I mentioned this in my Premier League predictions video. I said I think Burnley are going to struggle this season. They had issues at the end of last season with contracts expiring. I don't know why, but there's just no investment in the club. And they've been a Premier League club for a long time. They haven't ever gone out there and splashed 20, 30, 40, 50 million like a lot of other clubs. So I'm not too sure why money is such a problem for Burnley. But the squad's thin, don't really see a lot of goals coming from them, but again, could be like a 1-0 win here for Burnley. And then Leeds Wolves. Leeds, fair play to them. They are putting it all out there. They're trying to play their own way, and it's working so far, looking like they could comfortably stay up this year. But Wolves, attacking wise, it did surprise me. They sold Matt Doherty, and I weren't too sure why. And they didn't sell him for a lot of money. And they brought in Semedo, okay, fair enough. But now they've sold Vinagre, who's a young player who's supposed to be up and coming. And they brought in an older Marçal from Lyon. Okay, and then they've sold Diogo Jota. Now they're going to stick with Neto and Podence up front. So they've sold 2 first-teamers and a player that they rotate. They've not really replaced it. Apparently they were on the lookout for someone else, but they didn't bring them in. So Wolves, attacking-wise, not looking as solid as they did last year, which put my Raul Jimenez transfer back on the back burner, because I said I really want Raul. He's Mr. Reliable, but not even the postman is delivering so far. So that's going to be it for this game week. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, maybe leave a like and subscribe if you are new. I'll see you on Friday for the stream as per usual. We start between 12 and 12:30 p.m. UK time in the afternoon, where we'll be chatting about the last game week and looking at this coming game week. And everyone will probably be really nice to me about my very low scoring game week. So I hope to see you there. And as always, have a good one.